Disclaimer, this video is educational and informative in nature. Do not contact anyone shown in this video. Also, this video is discussing steroids. Do not use steroids. This is entirely for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Where have we seen this before? I mean, this is hardly original at this point. 18 years old, full gear use. It's fatiguing at this point, brother. You have a kid who is manually giving himself gynecomastia and doing probably what's worse for his health at the current time frame in his life. Look, I'm going to talk about this more in a second when it comes to technical terms, but let me show you what we're working with here because it is pretty insane. This TikToker Carson has one of the worst cases of ego-driven bad decision making that I have truly ever seen.
What are you gonna do if she cheats on you? Go ahead.
Get on track, quit wrestling, and come get fucking huge.
Yeah, because this is an attractive thing to do, especially after you've had an issue with a relationship. This is going to make you more appealing to the general populace, genuinely improving your place in the dating pool by developing cystic acne, your own breast tissue, and emotional dysregulation. Of course, you're going to do great.
That, FYI, was sarcasm.
Anyways, what I'd like to really know is where the fuck are this kid's parents? He's posting this shit inside of what is obviously his house. Do his parents not look at what he's posting online? Do they not have a say in what he's doing? Do they not even just look at his room? Like if you look on his shelf, there's medications sitting right there behind him. And I assure you, those aren't your simple ibuprofen. Those are probably a little bit more of the Sazul.
Okay, I've been wanting to make this video for a couple days now, but I don't want to give off the wrong meaning. So do what you will with this information, okay? I'm not recommending you do anything or take anything, but I have got to experience what it's like to have a normal test level, a high test level, and now a low test level. And let me tell you, there is a noticeable difference. Obviously, my normal test level, that felt fine. That was about 600 to 700. It was high 600. I got up to 12, or wait, like almost 1400 total and 400 and damn near 50 free on cycle. And I'm assuming I'm probably like 300 now total, something low.
And in the way that he communicates here, you can see that it almost sounds like he's anxious, like he's almost struggling and something's not quite right with the brother. He's jumping around, skipping his voice, seems shaky. It's just weird.
But anyways, I wanted to say, like, in the past week, I have noticed my workouts, okay? I'm like fatiguing. I'm becoming more sore while working out. Versus when I was on cycle, I felt just fucking phenomenal, okay? Like, I'm pumping fucking weight, and it's like, literally, I felt just unstoppable, okay? But this is more so for, like, older dudes who are, like, actually low test, okay? I highly recommend you actually consult a doctor because, number one, you're going to feel better in the gym. Number two, you're going to feel better anywhere, okay? Everywhere you go, you're going to feel way better. You're going to have more energy. Life quality is just going to be better. Any kids watching me, okay? Do not wreck your test levels, bro. Just leave them normal.
I'll be honest, I appreciate him saying that, hey, you don't ruin your levels, don't do what I'm doing, but you're still doing it. And basically, when 9 out of 10 pieces of content are still promoting gear usage and blasting at the age of 18 when you're still in high school, I don't think it really does the damage control that you need it to do. It's still going to promote some little troglodyte in his room at mommy and daddy's house who is thinking about how am I going to get this stuff? And he's going to find it because it is so accessible these days. Also, look at the comments on his posts. It's pretty gnarly. Like this one, why are you stopping? Why don't you go to TRT at 200 milligrams a week or something? He says that he legit ran out, which is why he's having the low test symptoms. And let me tell you, that is the biggest rookie mistake that you could ever possibly make in relation to doing a cycle, because it's one thing to be super physiologically boosted in terms of your testosterone, right? To have super physiological levels is definitely impeding function of the human body to a certain extent, but hypogonadism or subclinical levels of testosterone are arguably almost worse than super physiological levels. And so as a matter of fact, what happens is you get the worst of both worlds. You're super physiological and then you run out. So now you're subclinical and you get the worst mortality risks out of both of those situations. In fact, there's this really great review in literature where it shows all of the comorbidities of hypogonadism, and it goes into great detail about many things in relation to long-term mortality risks, and they're great. Also, some great data from down under, mate, in Australia. With the decline of testosterone, we see very shocking evidence unrelated to age that there is a strong correlation with cognitive decline in males. So again, mainly, this is just a few of the symptoms, right? There's cardiac changes, there's a lot of things, but what he's getting is both of the worst situations. Usually when you come off of a blast where you're really taking high doses of steroids, this is what athletes and bodybuilders do. They'll have seasonal periods where steroids are really high, and then they'll have steroids in a sense being lower in a season where they're trying to recover and improve their health so that they have more runway to blast once again later on in the future. That cruise period, that bridge period, whatever somebody might call it or label it as, usually the doses are going to be around a TRT level. Probably not for most people because they get addicted to the high, so they kind of run it a little bit higher, but they're relatively lower. The problem when you're not doing that and you're just letting them crash is you aren't recovering, because functionally you're getting the worst of both worlds again. So where you would have had that grace period to allow your body to recover from the toxic exposure of an excessive amount of androgens, you now have nothing, and you're just exposing yourself to another toxic environment, leading yourself down an even worse path. You see the conundrum here. Essentially, he's cooking his shit. It's Clout.
Oh, you have gyno. There is so many ways to get rid of my gyno. The fuck? I do not care at all, okay? If anything, it makes my chest bigger, okay? Also, when I don't know what to say to like a chick, if I'm hanging out with a chick, I'll be like, feel my nipple, something's wrong with it. Or I can pretend I have breast cancer as a male and get hella attention from chicks. Anyways, I can take medications to get rid of it. Absolute worst comes to worst, I get surgery on it. And then guess what? Like 90% of the time, it doesn't grow back after I get surgery. So yeah, like I have gyno. No, I didn't take any AIs while running my first cycle, nor do I really care.
Okay, so he doesn't care about gyno, and he thinks that it's medications are going to fix that, which I love this conversation because it's just the rude awakening that everybody needs to hear. He also thinks that surgery is an easy thing. And well, you're going to the United States, average surgery for gynecomastia costs somewhere around $6,000 to $12,000 as of 2025. That's a pretty hefty bill to take on as an 18-year-old, and you're likely going to need to take on some payments, which you're going to use a firm or something else, buy now, pay later program for. You're gonna be paying off for like the next fucking 6 years. Great. Good luck fishing that out at the age of 18 years old. And if his parents buy that for him, diabolical. Like, diabolical, dude. This is so corrupt. Secondly, the medication thing that he's referring to, this is usually pertaining to what we call SERMs, selective estrogen receptor modulators. These are drugs that bind to the estrogen receptor and basically block it. They act as a blockade so that estrogen, the true estrogen, can't actually bind to that site and initiate its genomic and non-genomic activities. But in this instance, obviously, when that estrogen receptor modulator is there, you have no estrogenic effect. So the theory is if I can block the estrogen receptor, which when you think about this logically, it doesn't really make sense, the tissue that's developed in my breast as a male will go away. But the problem being mainly that the tissue has already developed. It's there. And the lack of estrogen doesn't necessarily just decalcify tissue that has become existing. It's functionally part of your organ system now. It's fed nutrition. I mean, it is a part of your body. That's not just going to go away. It might reduce inflammation, which gives it a smaller appearance, but the long-term exposure to these things is questionable in and of itself. itself, things like Novadex, things like, there's a lot of them, but raloxifene, these have very, very high correlations with their use to blood clotting. And we all know that blood clotting has been a pretty serious issue within the realm of steroid usage and perform. Maybe you don't know, but this is a very big thing. And so you're compounding the effects of negative outcomes so much worse. Now, SERMs, they will block estrogen from having action on that estrogen receptor, and you won't have estrogen mediated tissue development. So it is preventative, but it is a bad solution to a problem. It's a band-aid. What people should be doing is controlling their estrogen if they're going to be on things like TRT or blasting a cycle, right? And the way that you would do this most optimally is likely take an aromatase inhibitor or use another steroid that seems to reversely inhibit aromatase action. Aromatase is an enzyme that cleaves up testosterone and makes it estrogen. And so you thereby lower estrogen, not needing something to block that estrogen receptor. So what historically people will do in bodybuilding is take a certain amount of testosterone and then take a certain amount of, let's say, primobolan, another synthetic anabolic, and that will balance out estrogen. The reason that you wouldn't want to take a SERM long term is very multifactorial, but Steve did a really great experiment on this. Vigorous Steve, a great friend for me personally, a father figure, if you will, and does an amazing and wonderful job on his channel with a lot of these kinds of experiments. I recommend you go follow him if you don't already. Most of you should. But he basically did an extremely high dose experiment with raloxifene and tried to reduce his own breast tissue development from when he was younger, and he found it to be really not that significant, and ultimately he stopped because of the fear of clotting factors increasing. And he did regular blood work and found it just to be a concern that was overwhelming for him, and so he stopped the experiment. And I can't seem to blame him because the research that is out there doesn't seem very promising. So compounding this further, what you're getting is a situation where you're compounding risk factors from taking steroids at an excessive dose. You're compounding risk factors from having hypogonadism and reducing your testosterone to subclinical levels because you just don't have enough testosterone. And then you're compounding health risks from taking things like raloxifene or other SERMs, selective estrogen receptor modulators, Novadex, whatever. You can see where this is becoming exponentially higher risk. And this is really, it's like a Swiss cheese model, right? You line enough slices of Swiss cheese up, and at some point those holes are all going to line up and you can poke your finger all the way through. It's like that, right? You keep adding layers of complexity to a situation. This is how bodybuilders die. It's not that they're taking testosterone, it's that they're taking testosterone, 3 other anabolics, 2 ancillaries, and they're taking a bunch of diuretics before their show. It is the factor of all things that contributes to the total picture. And this is what we're seeing here. And to top it all off, he says this.
I think a lot of people misunderstand the point of gear. Taking gear isn't just to necessarily look unnatural. The fact of how fast you can reach an insane physique. In the past 3 months, I've literally put on probably fucking 10 pounds of pure fucking muscle. Okay? Also, most of y'all are saying achievable naturally. I'm fucking bigger than you. What the fuck? Y'all are hiding behind faceless accounts, you little pipsqueaks, hiding, acting like achievable naturally. I can do it in 3 months. Like, what the fuck? You've been lifting for 2 years and you don't look like even half of what I look like. The fuck?
The point of taking gear isn't to look unnatural, confirming that he is quite literally just taking it to look natural, which is crazy. Now, we can talk about ways that just about anybody isn't going to look natural on gear, including things like hair loss. But if he was to use our new product we just developed, that might not be an issue. Oh, by the way, we developed a new product. Super Follicle Fuel is our new hair loss prevention product. I created it in hopes to prevent my own hair loss. Matter of fact. Really what I was seeing was that there's not a whole kind of in one product out there in the market, and I wanted to make something. So essentially what this has is several different ingredients which are clinically proven to do massive things for your scalp and the development of hair. Obviously, you guys know what minoxidil is. It's a very effective tool at regrowing hair. But there's also something called RU58841 in there, which is a very interesting compound that basically blocks androgens from binding to the androgen receptor, just kind of like the SERMs we explained, but androgens. And when applied topically and locally to the scalp, this can prevent any further miniaturization of hair follicles, which causes them to fall out and be gone permanently. This is a really wonderful way for you to see thicker, fuller hair and healthier hair. Including the ingredients that we have that are also in this, it contributes to a scalp that's going to be much more rich as far as an environment goes to grow more hair. And the best part is RU58841 is going to block those androgen receptors. So if you are somebody who is taking androgens still, you are going to be able to avoid a lot of the potential hair loss that you would have. People often take things like finasteride or dutasteride to do this. That's not going to work. It's going to only inhibit testosterone from converting into DHT, and that's really your main concern there. It's not going to block the receptor site at the scalp. This would be way, way better in terms of use case scenarios. But that's all I'll say. The description has a link with a code, Coach Kolton. You can use that code to get a discount. This is a product we developed and I'm super excited about it. So shout out to that product. So yeah, this guy isn't going anywhere good. And it's honestly just a copy paste situation. Like we see this, it's obviously a lot of it is for clout. A lot of it is just because he's truly that dumb, but no doubt people are going to give him attention. It's a form of rage bait, even if it is real. Even if he is this dumb, it is a form of rage bait.
Dude, I showed the doctor my blood work today. Her face goes. Not even kidding. She had the whole hand of the head too. I was like, oh. Like if you have a doctor going like this, like, you know it's bad. Which honestly, she was pretty impressed that my liver and kidney function weren't even that bad. But she seen my test level and my cholesterol, and she was like fucking freaked out. She's like, 250 tests is too much. Little does she know I'm about to pen a full gram. Happy test injection day, motherfuckers. Hope you have a safe pen today.
I mean, like this, your doctor having that kind of reaction, it's not just because of your health, it's because you're abusing steroids at 18. And like him going through these motions and making these videos is all just sort of a ruse, right? Like this thing that's sort of premeditated in a way, because it is attractive to people who are scrolling by. It's like watching a circus. It's the crazy guy doing crazy things. Everyone wants to know about it. You know, why do people listen to murder mysteries about people who are absolutely psychopaths? Because it's interesting, right? It's like, how does somebody, you want to understand how somebody could get so deranged. This kind of stuff is no different, and it sells, it works, right? I don't know. It's sad to see, genuinely, because this is influencing people. It's influencing a younger demographic, and you could see in his comment section, very, very, very young kids. Kids that I would assume to be no older than 16 years old, asking him about where he gets his testosterone from, where he gets trenbolone from, all of these other things, how he takes it. And this is the problem, right? Is when you're on TikTok and Instagram and whatever else, the algorithm is so dialed that if you're an 18-year-old posting content, it's going to refer that content to probably what is going to be another group of 18-year-olds and younger. It's a problem. So I don't know. That's my thought. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click like, comment, and subscribe. It does truly help the channel. I appreciate every single one of you that does that. And as well, I appreciate every single one of you who's made it this far in the video. The next video that we release is going to be announcing the winner of the randomized draw that we did for the free follicle fuel back like several videos ago. So stay tuned for that.